What up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the DirtyV and Chico show, starring me, DirtyV, and along with me, my main man, Chico.
What's up?
And we are about to blast off into an all-new episode. We got some hot scoop stories coming. We got some hot, lit news around Colin Kaepernick and the scandals and controversies surrounding his most recent news stories. We've got Marvel Phase 4 blasting off out of Disney Plus, right?
Yep.
Eddie Murphy, he's got some new stuff in the works that's going to make you laugh raucously. And then last but not least, we got the MAGA Rap Challenge, sponsored and promoted by Trump himself. You could win a trip to the White House to perform live for the Commander-in-Chief. So with Thanksgiving coming up, a lot of stuff going on, family getting together. What do you think's going to be the juice and gossip going around the table this year?
You know, Trump, Kaepernick.
We got that Kaepernick coming out. You seen? I know you've been following that. I haven't really been following it, but you were talking about it, so I went and started reading up just because I did follow him back in the day,
Right.
but he hasn't really been
Playing.
active the last couple of years, so I
hasn't played a
haven't
lot.
been up on him basically.
Right.
But I know he had that workout, like a private workout or
Right.
something, where he was supposed to have all the NFL was going to host it, or he was going to host it at Atlanta Stadium.
Correct. I believe
And
that's
then
correct.
basically all the teams, 32 teams, was supposed to be sending scouts, recruiting type people to go watch him work out.
Right. And I think he left early.
They sent some fanboys out there. They're like, oh, I'll go out to, I'll go watch Colin work out. It's like, all right.
Yeah.
So basically, but I did see some of the video of it, and he was still dropping like he threw a couple bombs.
Yeah. I mean, he's a good player.
He still
you know.
looked like he was all right, in good shape. Like what do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I think
It's something he's still into, or
I think he's still into it and all that. I'm not sure. I can't really see him. To me, I don't know. It seems like I
know you have strong feelings about the whole situation in general, because of his history in the league and the movements that he started with his protests.
Right, with the taking a
knee,
right.
his form of protests, which
right.
I think we kind of agree on that, or at least I can
agree on what the point is for why he's doing it,
Right.
basically to try to bring attention to police violence against black people, black men, African young, unarmed,
specifically cops,
right,
basically
killing people,
murdering young black men,
right,
yeah,
and
not having repercussions for it,
right, and and I think a lot of it because of Donald Trump, it got turned into a whole bigger. It got turned into a thing about
Very
the
political,
very
and
like it's against the flag and tried to. So one of the things that I was talking about was I would still see I almost don't think that he would really want to play football again. I don't think he would really benefit from that. But I couldn't see like I don't know. I was trying to think, imagining some team the only way that he's going to, or the only way that I see that a team is going to let him play football and start, is if he agrees to not
protest.
Right. If he agrees,
Right.
and he's not going to
Which
do
he
that,
ain't doing.
right?
Yeah.
So, and so what's it going to come to? It's going to be it's at an impasse,
But
right?
do you think out of 32 teams, there's not a few that might be on his side?
No,
I don't think all 32 teams aren't feeling that
they might.
they don't want that drama.
Right, exactly. Just like,
Do you think it's because of it goes against Trump and they are agreeing with him, or do you think it's just because they just don't want
that's what I was going to say.
or they don't want? I don't know.
It's what I was going to say. I was going to
like it would be.
I was going to relate it to Trump in that I was going to say, like, in the same way that you'll hear that there's like a lot of like there's a lot of senators and stuff like that who behind the scenes will say, I don't like Trump, but when they come out, they're, he's the greatest person, And I think it's the same thing with, a lot of the players and maybe even some of the owners who behind the scenes are like, I understand why he's taking this stance. I understand that he's not doing it as an affront to the country or to anything like that, but they're not going to say that out in public because there's so many people. I think you and I had a disagreement about the fact that I think that I don't think that there's any team that could be brave enough to
take him on.
Right, yeah. Because what did I say? I said any team that
like
does
would,
that. I said any team that does that, their stadium, they're gonna the city will burn down that stadium.
I like to think. I feel I get what you're saying, but I feel like there is still people like that would do that. That would stand up for what they know, do what's right. I don't think it's the majority or anything like that, but I think out of 32, I feel like there's probably some in there.
Well, then why
because I feel like he had a lawsuit. I feel like he may have a little validity to what he was saying with his lawsuit, that essentially he wanted to continue to play and was essentially pushed out of the league because of his beliefs, and because he wouldn't. We never did confirm and I don't mean to cut you off, but we never did confirm if there was an NFL league rule about that.
Oh yeah, we needed to look that up to find out. And if we do, maybe we can put that up there to see if
we can add that in later or whatnot. But that was one thing I was kind of curious about, because if that's the case, then they did push him out of the league.
Right, but see, and I think that's one thing I believe is true, and I'll say that again. But I think that he is more effective as not being able to play.
What, like a social leader instead of a
because
athlete?
What's he gonna do? It's so funny because I had made this statement before to a couple of people. I sent you I didn't send you a copy. I sent to the person. I think I did. So I was talking to a couple of people on text messages, and I said, why would he want to go back to playing football? Because if he believes that the owners and all that are racist, that would be like
a civil rights.
Yeah, I said
movement.
I said that would be like Kunta Kinte. I said that would be like Kunta Kinte wanting to go back to picking cotton, because he's made his stand, he's made his point, he's not playing anymore, and he's not playing because of the.
It's a difference though, because Kunta Kinte, unless Kunta Kinte loved picking cotton, and he just didn't like doing it as
okay,
slave.
So maybe it's not a good analogy.
Colin Kaepernick, he's been playing it since he was a small boy. He's been what do you call it when you're like a genius? Athlete, basically. Like he's like BoJack. Like he's an amazing athlete. Like he catches a lot of heat. He did have some kind of
prodigy.
Lukewarm.
You mean a prodigy?
He's literally like he was a baller. He was a boss. He's a beast in football, basketball, baseball. He was actually supposed to play baseball, really, because that's what he was best at.
Okay.
But that's not where his heart was at. His heart was in football. So he wanted to play at Nevada. I always say that wrong. Nevada. Darth Vader.
You don't say
he wanted to play college ball,
right?
And so I think he got drafted by the Cubs. I think is what I read.
Oh, really?
And he turned it down, or he passed on it because he wanted to play football.
Okay.
So he played football, played Nevada, set it off out there, and helped really. Just cement a couple records that not only he just set the record, but he's the only person that's done it. So it's like he's pretty much a boss. Came in, did a little thing, and then I'm kind of curious about the league rules. If they change that, that's really kind of that's shiesty right there.
I thought that after Trump got involved, that the league actually made a stance, and like I said, I haven't even been watching football for the last year or so. I think I might have followed the one Raiders Bronco game, but not really even that so much. But I've stopped watching it for a while. But I think that they did make a rule that anybody who kneels or whatever during the national
fined or something
gets fined or something like that. And I think there might be some teams where the guys are still doing it because they can.
Yeah, there's still definitely a few. I don't know how many, but there's at least 3 people he shouted out by name that are still doing it.
But I don't think they show those guys on TV. Like, I don't think they show the team during the national anthem, or else they don't come out.
They show the hot dog vendor or whatever,
or they don't allow the. So I don't know. I'd have to look into it again. But what I'm saying is, this is just maybe my opinion only, but it seemed to me it would look funny for him to go back. The only way I can see him and be okay watching him play football again is if they allow him to play and still kneel.
Yeah,
but if he is not allowed to kneel, then it's like you can't play.
No, he would. I don't think he would do that.
Right.
But his heart, because I think his passions are more for that. Right. But I think his heart still lies with football. Because I mean, if he's turning down, I mean, I don't know, but as a former baseball player, if the Chicago Cubs call you and like we are ready to draft you,
right,
you don't pass on that usually if you're a baseball player, because that's a dream. But it's like if he passed on that for football, then you know there's at least quite a bit of love there,
right?
Because that's
Elway did the same thing, right, with the Yankees. I think
there's a lot of athletes that do that. That they're so gifted with athleticism that they can do whatever they want to do, basically.
But so like he got the contract. He has the Nike contract, which come on, he's making. There's no way that the NFL was paying him as much as Nike's paying him.
And like Nike, and we all know how Nike's moral compass goes. It's a little
Nike goes in the compass
but,
of
I mean,
their.
They were doing some campaign around his movement that he has started, which was kind of cool.
Right.
But I mean.
That campaign won an Emmy award, actually.
Yeah.
For that Nike commercial that actually won an Emmy.
Yeah, it was like "Be Yourself" or something like that. I can't remember what it was.
Basically, I'm not even gonna say it because. Yeah. So I don't want to guess it, but it's that right there. That's what they said.
Yeah.
But he said, do everything at all costs, basically, no matter, even if you're going to lose your career, you lose your life over it, stand up for what you believe in. Basically, that's what it was. Stand up for what you believe in, even if it's going to cost you everything.
Yeah.
But I don't know the exact verbiage of it.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so, but he has that. He also got a settlement with the NFL, right? He got a settlement with the NFL. Nobody knows how much that settlement was for.
And that's what I was talking about. The dude that got a settlement with him.
Right. You said he's still playing and he's still
kneels.
And that's what I don't remember. So I don't know enough.
I believe he plays for the Jets. I think he's a defensive.
And do they show that or what?
I don't know. He had a picture of it. So obviously there's some.
Okay.
There's some level of photography because, NFL, they keep their
stuff together,
rights and stuff like that pretty close to home.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
There must be a little bit of coverage of it.
That's true.
If not to just talk trash, like they do it for some reason.
I don't know. I can't
it's
see
real
him.
Controversial.
There's another thing. There's another way that he can. There's another way that he would stop playing. Or would play again, and it would be okay, and be able to stop kneeling, and that is if police violence or these murderers and all that stuff stop.
Basically, he can feel proud enough to not kneel.
Right,
exactly. That there's no more violence towards black men, and that the flag in the country have those kind of beliefs.
Maybe
that's not cool.
$1 billion get donated to some civil rights, something like that.
Basically, if everybody can just be cool with not murdering
black people, that'd be awesome. Yeah. I have 5 of those young black men, so I kind of have a stake in the game. I got some dogs in the fight.
I can see why that might be something that you're attentive to.
Yeah.
Well, I see us fam. So
do you think when at your on Thanksgiving when you guys talk about this, if you guys talk about this, it'll be as civil as the conversation that we're having? Do you think people are having civil conversations across the country? I'm sure you are. Or do you think? I think most people are.
Nah, I think most people are like, get her done.
Yes, it's so bad.
It's so foul, dude. I don't know, man. I don't know why there's you don't even want to hear why,
Yeah.
I feel like it's just that going on where it's just like an immediate, because it's such an immediate slight or seen as such a slight of disrespect that they don't want to hear
that
why.
And the sides get so divisive, like we don't understand, like on both sides we don't understand the impact of like calling each other names and stuff like that. So like when we call each other names, that side, like, the other side, like takes their like, I'm not that, you know, and then they don't want to hear anything at all. And so that we people need to learn how to communicate with each other is really what it is. But people aren't communicating with each other. They're just yelling at each other, trying to like, what's his name? The guy from Real Time, Bill Maher. He did a thing. He was talking about owning each other. He was talking about Thanksgiving, but he basically saying get over it. Like everyone wants to own each other. Like, oh, I own him in that debate, you know. And it's just like, man, we're all different. We have different ideas. We have different views. We're gonna just have to live through this. We get through it all. So,
yeah, it's crazy. Hopefully, Jay-Z gets promoted to like. He's on there. He's up in the mix again.
I was gonna bring up the Jay-Z thing, but I didn't want to take the conversation all the way into
Well, he was support. Well, he's my favorite rapper, so it's like I'm at least, if I'm not keeping up on the other, I'm at least hearing this just because I keep my ears to anything he's got going on.
Yeah,
he was really full steam on Colin Kaepernick's side, supportive. One of the few people that I remember was first really vocal about. Him and J. Cole were like people that I remember being really,
and Beyonce too. Even though Beyonce did perform at the Super Bowl,
but yeah, it's like I feel like he was a real supporter for that, like on the main national on the stage, you know. Yeah. And then now he's got his new gig. What do you think about that?
I think
there's split on that.
See, I was torn. I wasn't always a Jay-Z fan. Especially because even though I'm from New York, when I grew up on the West Coast, so I was all into that. Before that. Right. So I was like on Tupac's side. So I was like, yo, when Tupac was mad at Jay-Z, I was mad at Jay-Z. So, I've watched him grow, and I've watched him become like, an inspiration and not in just the African American community, but in like all communities, and actually, I don't know to what extent him and his wife are doing to like help out communities, but I know that they are doing things to help out communities, especially underprivileged communities. And so when I saw and I heard people call him a sellout and stuff like that, man, I got to me. And like, and it was people who were like his biggest fans. All of a sudden, like, why would you think that he would just all of a sudden just flip the script? Like, why don't you think that maybe he has a plan? Like maybe he's got something under his sleeve and then like when
it's definitely going to involve making money. Yeah,
right. Of course, he's a businessman.
You got to try not to hate about that part.
That's what I'm saying. But he's not a politician. He's a businessman. He makes money. That's what his thing is about. So, and the fact is that it's sad that so many people try to put so much, weight on political issues and social issues on entertainers and stuff like that. We don't look at scientists. We don't look at, people in other fields. We look at ball players and actors and singers and stuff like that for our guidance and social issues when it's like
advice.
Right. So he's a businessman and he's out there to making money. So nobody got mad at the other players on the 49ers for renewing their contracts.
Yeah. Well, and that's where I was going to connect the dots is supposedly he had a big hand in the convincing Roger Goodell to
the workout
to allow grant the
I saw one
workout.
One of my friends online had posted something about that, saying like, oh, Jay-Z was involved in the same thing. And I'm thinking about it. This was the same friend of mine who a month ago was calling Jay-Z a sellout, or 2 months ago was calling Jay-Z a sellout. And I'm like, come on, man, you people flip the script so fast.
Yeah, Jay-Z, we were talking about Jay-Z just in general, and he's the type of businessman or just logical thinker mind to where he's thinking of steps ahead.
Yeah, he's not thinking about this year. He's thinking about like 2024.
This is all preparatory.
Yeah,
it's like he's got something planned.
Yeah, you don't become a billionaire.
I read an article that was really sweet. It was Mike Jones. Who Mike Jones? Not the rapper. It was Mike Jones. Was for Sports Illustrated, and it was a really nice article. I don't remember the exact verbiage, but it was really saying that give him a chance before
Right.
he's not that this. I don't think this is where he's going to sell out.
Exactly.
Or
it's
how
like
he's going to do that.
exactly.
If he's going to sell out.
That's
so give him a chance.
That's what I thought too. I'm like, come on, man. You really think
he poses an opportunity to possess, historically the most power. In the NFL, I should say,
right?
Like world leader
but even for a black person, for a black man, yeah, hell yeah, he has a lot.
If he becomes an owner of a team, even if it's a not a majority of an owner, is what I was reading. It's like he will historically have the most power that any black man has had in the NFL.
Right.
Or something like
now I could see Colin playing on Jay-Z's. Yeah, I could see Colin playing on Jay-Z's team because
switching up the jersey to Rockaware, just having it like all tight, like just like
the team's name would probably be
just real light. You know what I mean? Like beachy.
Yeah, that'd be tight. But I was gonna say we got to make a note of it because talking about entrepreneurship in the hip hop industry, rap snacks. We didn't. We got to talk about that in another.
This is my jam, dude. I know you're like. Oh, Rap Snacks.
It's been out for.
You're like Rap Snacks. It's been out for like 3 months. Where have you been? And then I'm like, what up with Panda Express? You're like, I've never even been to Panda Express or heard of that place. I'm like, dude, where have you been the last 30 years?
I don't like. I've never been there. I've heard of it, but I thought it was like a remake of Yoshinoya. But anyway,
which I've never even heard of.
Yoshinoya, I think, is only in California, but I think they have a remake. I think Panda Express is Yoshinoya.
Okay, in a different side of the country or whatever. I got you.
Anyways. So.
Anyways, yeah.
Moving right along.
Moving on to something a little bit more lighter. We got Disney Plus just dropped last week. Not even been a week yet. Disney Plus dropped. I don't know.
Somebody else.
I just got a subscription for it. I've had a little chance to check it out.
That's what we were. One of the things we were talking about was going to be the Phase 4, that Phase 4 stuff that they had coming up.
Yeah, Phase 4 looks dope. We watched just like a couple. We watched it on Disney Plus. They have a 12-minute documentary video where Kevin Feige or whatever his name is, the main dude for all the Marvel stuff. He was showcasing some of the new shows coming up.
Didn't it look to you like, and it looked kind of to me like these guys now, because they're all the small characters, right? They're all like Hawkeye.
Some of them are.
Who else is it?
I mean, it's really everybody but the heaviest hitters, like
Because they're almost. It seems like they're
Iron
almost
Man's
like.
not
Do you think they got like locked into some contract for like buku bucks that they can't get out of for like the next 5 years, probably?
They probably signed all the people that aren't present for the first phases, and now that they're in Phase 4, these guys are just happen to be part of Phase 3 as well. You know what I mean?
Do you think Phase 4 is just going to be a whole bunch of like Netflix type TV shows that no one's going to watch?
Hell no. There's going to be crazy people watching that stuff.
Yeah,
dude, come on. It looks so dope.
I think they're going to saturate the market with so much of that stuff that people are just going to get tired of it.
I don't think they'll ever be able to make enough.
What?
For all those comic nerds out there, dude, you could never make enough Marvel movies.
It's sad that you're probably right.
You could never make enough. That's like saying I made too many Star Wars movies.
I can't even. I've stopped watching. Dude. I'm just like, all right, I'll catch the next big one, but I don't want to catch the little side dramas.
And their babies and their babies are going to be watching Marvel movies, man.
I hate
to say it.
I don't hate to say
it. Actually,
the 10-year-old. He's watched the original Star Wars movies, but the 6-year-old he hasn't watched. He doesn't. He's not. The 6-year-old has seen Part 9.
Yeah,
is that the last one? 8. Yeah, Part 8. I mean, it was 6 and then 7. So the 6-year-old I think has seen 7 and 8.
Yeah, 7, 8 are the most recent ones.
Right. 9 is the last one, right? Is going to be
9 is the one that's coming out this Christmas, I believe.
Right, I saw a commercial. That's supposed
Looks
to be
really good.
Yeah,
I mean, Disney I know you're not really into it.
I am. It's just I don't know.
I'm a Star Wars nerd.
I'm just like they're like Disney is spending like so much money on everything. It's just like I said again. It's like wow.
Yeah, man. They've made a whole entire Disneyland area about it. So
this is gonna be.
They're making their money back.
I'll just keep this theme in like a running thing in every episode where I say, like, I didn't like Infinity Wars.
Yeah.
it kind of, it was just they spent a lot of money in it, but by the end of it, and a lot of stuff also through it, but by the end of it, it seemed like they just kind of like, hey, we need to really end this movie.
The cinematic universe, so you don't dissect it nearly as much as some of the people that are out there. And if you hear some of the,
I know that if you bring back half of all of the entire living existence at one time, that you wiped out half of the entire everything that was alive, and you bring them all back in one instance, it's going to look a whole lot different than what they made it look like. I mean, you're going to have just mass confusion, commotion, just people. It was just, to me, I'm just like, that's not right. It just didn't look right to me. And then it just didn't look right to me. Right, well, I'm like more like be more.
Then don't watch it
in Marvel.
Give up on it then. You know what I mean? Just don't watch it.
I had to watch
DC,
it.
Watch the DC movies. They got Black Adam coming out with The Rock.
That's horrible.
Yeah,
that's a
Well, you could watch,
that's a blaspheme right there.
You can watch whatever the new Batman movie they're making that year. Basically, they've had 45 people play Batman over the last 20 years.
My son, one of my sons, tells me Joker was horrible. He said he walked out on it.
Well,
but then again, I don't know.
You may not have
appreciated it. Yeah, I don't know. But
well, everyone's entitled to their opinion, Chico. So,
well,
good for him.
Movies change.
Good for him for taking a stance.
He was with his lady, I guess.
He wasn't gonna tolerate that. Good for him.
So,
anyways.
Yeah. So we were talking about Disney movies, and we were talking about how things change when different movies. I remember one of the things that's changed is Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
That's
what I was thinking.
Because and Netflix, that ties in with Netflix as well too, because he has that Dolomite. You haven't seen it?
I haven't seen that yet, but I want to see it really bad because he's like one of my favorite comedians of all time.
He's pretty funny in that one, and that one is pretty funny.
I absolutely love him.
I noticed that there was a time where he couldn't be as funny as he wanted to be. Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, he had to tone it down a notch.
Yeah, because he was doing all the Disney stuff.
Going from delirious.
Yeah.
To,
when did you first catch on to Eddie Murphy? Like, when was your first experience with him?
One of my best friend growing up, his mom had he had HBO in his house. Okay. He's the only person I knew that had HBO. So, but his mom was cool. She never gave us permission to do anything, but she was really smart. She worked at like Lockheed Martin. She was really smart, so she never like busted us for stuff. So
she just would selectively not see you guys doing stuff.
Yeah, basically. And she was really cool, and she kept an eye on us and stuff. But there were certain things like that where I know she had to know we were watching HBO late night, like on what we thought was the sly.
Okay.
And so we would just catch all of these movies that we should be watching on HBO through one means or another. And it's just like
HBO was my HBO corrupted me as well too when I was a kid too. But we've got like what 7 years difference between us.
Yeah, 6-7 years.
Because you were saying it was what Beverly Hills Cop was your first.
Beverly Hills Cop. That came out in like '84, I think when we looked it up. So
was that your first Eddie Murphy movie experience? Eddie Murphy experience?
No, I feel like because of my age, like the comedies were the first ones I saw.
Okay.
Like Delirious and
the stand-ups.
Yeah, his stand-ups. Yeah, his stand-ups were my first introduction to Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, mine too.
And I knew I shouldn't have been watching it, obviously, because it was adult subject matter, but
we watched.
It's so funny.
When I was a kid, we watched that, and it was on HBO at my grandmother's house. We would be. I don't know if my grandmother knew we watched, but when I was a kid, I mean, again, it's not a full generation between us, but it was a little bit different. And plus, I grew up, Latin family, but it was just, in
New York and
in New York,
Florida,
right. But it was just we would be in the back, and me and all the kids would be in the back room. We'd be watching HBO. Yeah. That was our babysitter at night sometimes on the weekends. And man, and that was back when HBO would play the same film like over and over again through the evening sometimes. So I saw that Delirious.
Well, when I saw Eddie Murphy, or like when I first introduced to Eddie Murphy, he was already like a global phenomenon. You know what I mean? Because you were talking about how you appreciated his work in 488 Hours and how he really stepped up out of just a comic role, like a goofy role, into something.
Right. He was basically in that movie in 48 Hours. He was. It was the first time because I think we had some black comedians like Bill Cosby, Richard Pryor, and he wasn't a comedian, but like Sidney Poitier, who at the
Sir Sidney Poitier.
Sidney Poitier.
Sir Sidney Poitier.
Oh, is he a sir? I didn't know he was a sir. He probably is.
That's so funny you mentioned him.
Why? Anyways.
Yeah,
so,
I don't want to get off topic, but it's hilarious.
So they were like starring in movies, but they didn't have like really dominant roles or anything like that. And I think and I was watching this in a documentary too. It was in 48 Hours when Eddie Murphy pretended to be a detective in the bar scene. It was like one of the first times where a black comedian in a movie or any black leading male role was able to take such a powerful stance. And throughout the rest of that movie, he was basically on par with Nick Nolte, even though at the time, like you said, a lot of people probably went to the movies to see Nick Nolte. And I think Eddie Murphy had a couple of movies in between there. He had Trading Places. Where he was starring with Dan Aykroyd. And so he was never really the star, but it was finally in Beverly Hills Cop, where, like you said, that's the one where he's prominent on the cover of
clear shift from supporting role to lead man
to the star. And that was after, I think, in between those, he did do Delirious also, and he did do. But Eddie Murphy was the first one. He was like one of the first ones to start having, first black man to start
really
having prominent roles, leading roles in the movie where he could actually demand his pay, And I think it was one of the things that I thought was funny was that you could tell he was very conscious of his pay, because once he started working for Disney, he didn't really do very many movies where he cursed. I think it was just in Norbit. Remember in Norbit, I think he was doing some of those other movies at the time, like he had done Mulan or whatnot. But in Norbit, his character, he played about 10 characters in that movie. But the character that looked like him, that looked like Eddie Murphy, did not curse. He would say, "Oh, double HE, double hockey sticks," or stuff like that. But all of his other characters were cursing up a storm and stuff like that, and I was like, oh, okay, he kind of gets away with it.
Exactly. I know exactly what you mean, and he's had a pretty interesting career.
Yeah, but so he's got some movies coming out now.
2 hot ones coming out. What, he's gonna remix
Beverly Hills Cop 4, right?
Yeah.
2 and 3 were.
And it's gonna be maybe a Netflix original, maybe.
See, and that's the thing.
Netflix,
I don't
know if it's gonna be original or what.
Do you notice how like they're all tied into all of these conversations here in some way? Because they're Netflix, all these places, they're just dominating everything.
It said Paramount Pictures was supposed to do it in 2016, but then they gave up the rights to Netflix.
Probably
so
no one would
Netflix
even.
Netflix is just going to do a Netflix. Oh, you know what? Because Netflix has like Mystery Science Theater 3000, and
why do you think he's doing a part 4 though? If you think about it, he should just
do like a wanted to do a part 4.
Oh, really?
But he said the script has never been right.
Because I was going to say he should just
scrapped it a couple times.
He should do this just a reboot or just something different, but a part 4, that just seems like
no, that's fine. They because I don't think they closed it out. I'll have to go rewatch 3. I forget how 3 ended. I loved 3.
I don't think they ever tied into each other. 2 and 3 were just different parts of part 1.
But they still had the same detectives and stuff like that. So it's
but they did the tailpipe.
Been in the tailpipe.
Yeah, they did that in all the movies or something. Or
take those bananas. Damon Wayans.
Yeah, that's Damon right. Wayans, yeah, that was his first.
He's like, ooh, what did he say? He's like, I just need some bananas. He's like, ooh, because he had his hair. Remember, he had his shirt tied up.
like how he did in Living Color.
Oh man, Damon! Shouts out Damon Wayans.
But the one that would be funny is He's not doing. Do we say Trading
Coming
Place?
to America.
Coming
too,
to
is what
America
he's
Part
doing.
2.
And
That will be.
They
hilarious.
haven't confirmed. He's the only one they've confirmed in the cast so far.
So
I'm sure Arsenio will come
That's what I was
back.
gonna say. Is Arsenio, because he's still around. Arsenio's still here.
And then maybe James Earl Jones. He's still kicking, right?
Yeah.
So James
He did
Earl
the
Jones will come back.
That will be dope. That would
I
be
am the
Simi. Now that would be a funny movie.
Dude,
That's
that
something
was
that he
so
could do.
good.
Yeah.
You know, there's just so many lines in that people still quote.
Oh yeah,
all the
that
time.
movie is classic. That is a true definition of a classic film.
Rocky Marciano.
You don't know nothing about no Rocky Marciano.
Okay.
There's the whole movie, man. The whole
It's the
movie.
best,
That one
dude.
is
Soul
funny.
Glow, make your soul glow, dude. Yeah,
Let your soul.
that movie's the heat. So that's gonna be part 2, and they have who was it? Jerry Bruckheimer is the one who produced those originals, and he's coming back to do all. Those.
Oh, really?
So it's hopefully it'll be at least like pay good homage to the originals.
That'll be cool because that one.
And Eddie Murphy's still funny. I forget where I seen him recently, but I seen him recently on something, and he was just talking some trash, and he had me laughing.
He still has a quick mind. He still has his sense of humor is still on point.
Yeah.
I seen him on. He's good if you watch him on Jerry Seinfeld's riding in
having coffee with something.
Yeah, riding in cars with comedians having coffee or something like that is the name of it.
I've seen a few episodes of that.
He does an episode of that. I've seen him on the Tonight Show getting interviewed. He's just really still kind of quiet, and he like you can tell in the back of his head he's thinking of something funny all the time, and it comes out and it's like, okay, yeah, he's still a funny guy.
Yeah.
But the Dolomite movie, it seemed like it was really funny. There were parts that were really funny, but he was doing more of a biography, of I forgot the guy's name that played Dolomite, that wrote Dolomite, but it's his whole story basically. Gotcha. It's his whole cinematic story.
Like Superfly.
Yeah, basically. Except that Dolomite was making fun of those Superfly movies because you have to see it.
Yeah. I want to see it. I do want to see it. Yeah. I really, really like Eddie Murphy so much. I would like to say he doesn't get his props, but he does get his props.
Yeah.
He's
pretty
well recognized as one of the best of all time.
I think still has Kevin Hart finally matched his movie sales. I think Kevin Hart finally did. But Eddie Murphy was like, yeah, but you're not to match
that kind of impact on.
Yeah, even though I don't think Kevin Hart's that. Kevin Hart, his first 2, 3.
Please don't finish like you about to say Kevin Hart ain't funny, because you will see a bleep and a cut and an edit on this video. Because dude, that guy is freaking hilarious just looking at his ass when he starts talking.
He's funny. He's not as funny. I don't watch any. I don't watch him anymore. Yeah, like his first 2 or 3 stand-ups were funny, and some of his he doesn't have that kind of humor to me anymore. He doesn't do impersonations.
No, he's like the best roommate you could ever have. Like,
he's a funny person.
Make you weep with laughter, basically.
To me, he's one of those people that he gets paid just for being who he is. He's just
I like excuses like he's annoying. I don't like him.
Was he serious? Oh no, that's because they do a movie together.
That's just their thing. They're always like,
he's funny. He's funny side by side with The Rock too. Did you see he clowned The Rock on Halloween? He dressed as The Rock.
That was the best thing I'd ever seen all year. That was the funniest. That was the funniest thing I'd seen all year. He had the fro, and then the fanny pack,
and then the fanny pack, and the
necklace with the turtleneck.
Yes, that was hilarious.
Amazing. That was incredible.
So him, but I don't know. Eddie Murphy, my favorite comedian actually though probably was more like George Carlin, because George Carlin. See, and that's the thing with Eddie Murphy too. I don't know if I could see him doing a stand up again.
I can for sure. It just depends on where he's at with his if he's able to bring it back to a little bit of raunchiness.
Because his stand up was funny. Like now you gotta almost have to talk about politics and stuff like that, and he never talked about politics. He talked about his family. He talked about things that were going on in his career.
I've watched both of his Raw and Delirious recently, and they both still hold up.
Oh yeah, they're funny. He's just funny. He's just a comedic genius. Like when he does the family barbecue, when he does that family barbecue scene, man, like he's done it for like 10 minutes. It's like 10 minutes long, and he just goes from one character to the son to the
he's
uncle
amazing.
to the thing, and he just back to back to back to back
very
to back.
Talented comedian.
Yeah, it's his dad, and it's just like sometimes I think he's not a really good actor, more as he might be on the low, like a little schizophrenic psychopath. That's how he's able to jump into those characters so easily.
He's got multiple personalities.
Yes, because he does them, so he really gets into those characters. He becomes those people.
He's a character. He's got very character. He's got like a very character actor type.
Yeah, there's other comedians who like other people like him. Robin Williams, I thought, was one person like
animated,
that.
Very animated, like woo.
Yeah,
like
they're just different,
like Jim Carrey or something.
Yeah, they're just different.
Like,
yeah,
really. Yeah, they got a different type of humor, but
yeah, I think that they really get lost into themselves.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, that they're really able to tune out the rest of everything else and just really be themselves in like the purest form and not like care, and just be silly and take on other personalities and stuff like that. Yeah, really. Because I noticed like it's a whole different thing. You can be like a really good actor or a really good rapper or a really good anything in front of nobody, you know what I mean? And as soon as there's somebody looking at you or there's a camera on you, all of a sudden all that stuff that you thought you had great talent at becomes, and that's another part of it. You got to be able to do it in front of people. You can't just be talented in the shower. You got to be talented, and that's where that real talent comes in, to be able to do that. So, and that's what these people have, like Eddie Murphy, Colin Kaepernick, all those people. That's real talent.
Falcon and Bucky from Marvel,
right?
Loki, the guy that plays Loki. I don't know any of their names.
Now, people without so much talent, have you heard of the MAGA hat rap battle challenge?
No, I didn't hear about it. You sent me a little thing about it. I did. It sparked a little bit of spark of curiosity. I started looking into it, and it was almost amazingly the most ridiculous thing I've seen all week.
So I started off.
Please explain what it is.
So apparently, this is like Donald Trump. Donald Trump's been making a big push into like the black community. He went to the historic black college.
What did he call his?
Oh my gosh! Are you talking about the other day, the way he was talking about the black people? He's like, would you rather be blacks for Trump or African Americans for Trump? Yeah. And the whole audience is like, blacks for Trump, blacks for Trump, blacks for. I'm like, come on.
I love it. It's just
people, please.
I just I don't even know. And then did you notice they didn't show the audience? I never saw a clip of that audience. They never do.
Because I'm sure there's like three black people in the audience.
It's always like they just cut to it, and then there's just like it looks like a Woodstock concert or something. And you're like, what?
But the MAGA hat rap battle basically. He
MAGA. Okay, it's called the MAGA Challenge.
MAGA Challenge? Is it the MAGA Hat Challenge?
MAGA Rap Challenge. It's called the MAGA Rap Challenge.
Okay, yeah.
The MAGA Rap Challenge.
It was started by, I think for some way or another, it got started by this.
The MAGA Rap Challenge.
I know.
You said it was the MAGA. You said it was
MAGA
the MAGA Rap Battle Challenge. And then that's when I lost it. That's when I was like, okay, tell me more.
Because if they were having a rap battle.
I thought they were having a rap battle.
No, that would be bad.
This was more just ridiculous.
Well, yeah, they're just like, he's
terrible.
He's trying to put his push into the black community and stuff like that, but it's I don't know, man. Well, most of the rappers were not black.
I will say there was some crazy bars up in there. My man said, "Yo, they trying to impeach him. They just mad because they can't be him," or something like that.
That's some tight.
They trying to impeach him because they can't be him.
Yeah, incredible wordplay right there.
Just weaving it. I was like, dude, is that Slim Shady? I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah. And then it was like, bet, dead that. I'll be running through your hood with my red hat. I was like, it was like to a trap beat.
Oh my!
I'm like, dude,
they had some country
if your
rappers.
Friends could see you.
Yeah, this it's bad. But he promised that he was going to invite the person to the White House.
Yeah, that's what you win.
Yeah.
That's what you win. You get to go party at the White House and perform live for the commander-in-chief.
That is crazy. Like, he can't get a real rap artist.
I hope they film that because I do kind of want to see them performing it and him being like,
he's supposed to have announced it already. What? Have you ever seen him dance? Like, he went to a black church and danced. No, he was like
doing the diddy bop.
Yeah, I wish. He could do the floss maybe.
I would see him doing the worm where you like Trump.
He was trolling that, and I know this is way off
or maybe
topic.
do a handstand into like a full flare, like
Trump, right?
Yeah, like breakdancing.
Dude, he's getting bigger. Have you ever noticed? Like, his suits are getting bigger,
yoked, bro. He's been lifting.
No, dude, he's been lifting Big Macs. Is what he's been lifting.
Oh, that's rude.
No, but he went to the hospital on Saturday. Did you hear about that? They said he wasn't rushed to the hospital. They're like, oh, this was
I was never rushed.
They said
we took our time.
That was almost good impression. So, but
I've been practicing.
they said that was his physical, because he's not supposed to have his physical until February, but they're like, this was his physical phase 1.
Ooh.
We're like, yeah, right.
They're
that fool had a heart attack.
4, we got our phase 1 going.
Let's see if how much he's been. He tweets after he has a stroke. He's gonna give himself a stroke. That guy.
I've done more barbell curls than anyone has ever done. Okay, that sounded more like
Kennedy.
Kennedy.
Yeah, that was definitely way more like Kennedy. That was like the Simpsons Kennedy.
Yeah, that was like Simpsons Kennedy.
All right. All right.
All right. So. All right. Well, I guess we could just wrap things up now if you're down.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down.
Cool. We got a bunch of stuff coming up. Just want to thank everybody for watching. I want to send a special shout out to my wife who lets me basically get away with all this stuff. Lets me do the recording, editing, working long, late hours and stuff, and doesn't really, give me a hard time about that. She still loves me. So.
She doesn't beat you up too bad.
Yeah, I just want to send a special shout out to that. So
that's love.
That's one love.
That's deep. That's
deep,
cool.
Yeah, ocean.
But no, that's cool, man. I'm glad everything is. I'm happy to be able to do what we're doing. It's pretty fun. It's pretty awesome. So, I know
some projects coming up.
Yeah.
You got you gonna do some ghost? You're talking about some ghost stories.
Yeah, man. Ghosting? I have some pretty good ghost stories.
Typical ghost stories.
I had the ghost stories idea before. Anyways, but We'll do good. We got some stuff coming up.
All right, so we got some stuff coming up. We got podcasts coming up.
Yep.
We got some Christmas stuff. We want to actually do a Christmas film type thing.
Yep.
So we'll see if we can get that out. If nothing else, we got the Christmas podcast coming up, and then we got another special episode coming up here soon. Continuation from Where's Chico? So. Keep an eye out for all that stuff coming up. Thanks to everybody supporting. Thanks to everybody subscribing. If you like the video, feel free to like the video. And also feel free to comment below. Let us know what's going on.
Yeah, we're not getting any comments. What's up with that?
We need some more comments. I got a couple of comments. Shouts out to my main man, Doug. Dougie Fresh from Florida. He said shout him out. So we'll shout him out.
Oh, okay. I don't have any specific shout outs right now. But.
Y'all need to get in that comment box. Leave us a comment. Let us know what's going on. Show love. All right. We love y'all. Late.
Yo, peace.
Late. Peace.